everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with Tformers.com, your #1 news source for everything Transformers. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the new Transformers Masterpiece MP-21 Bumble, or otherwise known as Bumblebee figure from Takara Tomy. Now this figure is based on the original G1 incarnation of Bumblebee with the classic Volkswagen Beetle in his yellow colors. The figure comes packaged in the same kind of box packaging we see with all the Takara masterpieces. On the front you've got a picture of robot mode and vehicle mode, and also the extra Spike and Exo Suit figure that this set comes with. We've got the indication of MP-21 down at the bottom, and we have the Volkswagen logo on the front. On one side we have a picture of the vehicle, or of the toy in vehicle mode, and then the other side we have a picture of a partial picture in robot mode, kind of an action pose. And then on the back we have some more pictures of the toy showing various features, vehicle mode, how it fits in the Optimus Prime trailer, standing next to the MP Optimus Prime, and then like the multiple faceplates that this comes with, his hubcap and his blaster and the Exo Suit, and then some writing that I can't really read. Okay, so let's get this figure open and take a look at what's inside. Here's a look at the toy outside of the packaging, and Bumblebee comes in his vehicle mode once you take him out of the box. Nice detailing. You know, this is obviously the G1 version, so we've got the classic Volkswagen Beetle, you've got the Autobot symbol on the front, and you've also got the Volkswagen VW symbol up at the top of the hood. Windows are translucent plastic so you can see inside. There's no place to, like, for someone to sit like a small figure or anything. The doors don't really open in this mode. He's got the headlights with the metallic silver and then the translucent plastic. He's got the black bumper, which is just a black piece of plastic glued on the front. He's got the Volkswagen hubcaps, which are nice. The wheels are hard plastic, but they roll. You know, this rolls pretty good. It's got the doorknobs sculpted on. Then on the back, he's got the back headlights, the back bumper, and it comes with a, when you take it out, it's got the license plate. Now, we'll go over this in a second, but you can actually remove the license plate and put a spare tire on if you'd rather. And then here's the other side. Now, one thing to note, this comes with a, like we've seen with some of the Autobots, this comes with a side view mirror that you have to actually put on. And now, older cars like this only had side view mirrors on the driver's side. They didn't have them on the passenger side. So to stay true to that, they've only given us the one to go on the driver's side. And it's just a little piece of plastic. And they actually give you two, so if you lost one, you'd have an extra. And you just put it in this little hole that's near the driver's side window, and you just kind of stick it in there. And it's a little piece, so it can be kind of difficult, but once you get it in there, it fits nice and tight. And again, you don't have to have that, but it's a nice little added detail. So anyway, as I was saying, you've got the license plate here on the back, but if you'd rather have him with a spare tire like you would see him sometimes with, you can remove this, and it's just a little plug basically. It's a black piece of plastic, and you can, on the bottom, and they've actually, if you don't want to have it on the back, you can have the spare tire on the bottom of the figure as well, and it still rolls even when it's on the bottom. So, you know, if you don't have it displayed on the back, you can still keep it attached to the figure, which is nice. Now, you can basically, so you don't lose the license plate plug, you can put that inside the spare tire. It just fits in there, and then you just plug in the back tire into that hole where the license plate was, and there you go. So now your Bumblebee has a spare tire on the back. But again, if you don't want it on the back, then it has a place on the bottom of the figure so it stays out of sight, but you don't lose it. Also, they've given you a place to put his gun, so in vehicle mode he can carry his gun with him, and it just kind of clicks into place down here right next to where you put the spare tire. And it just comes out. So that's nice that they basically given you a place to store all of his accessories, or his main accessories, when he's in vehicle mode. He's still got the extra faceplate, which you basically have to put off to the side when he's in vehicle mode. For that matter, in robot mode, since you can only have one faceplate on at a time. But for the gun and the spare tire and the license plate, they've given you places to basically store it in vehicle mode, which is nice. I'm not going to walk you through the transformation, but I did do a little stop motion video here to give you an idea of what it looks like as you're transforming this from vehicle mode to robot.
Autobots, transform!
Okay, so here's a look at Masterpiece Bumblebee fully transformed into robot mode. Very true to what we saw in the G1 cartoon with the human face. He's got the horns on the head. I really like the head sculpt on this one. He's got his Autobot symbol sculpted on his chest, and then again down here on his left foot. He's got blue eyes. Then on the back, he has his hubcap, which attaches to his back, basically as a backpack. I don't actually remember him having the hubcap in the cartoon. I can't remember for sure, but I don't recall him having a hubcap in the cartoon. I might be wrong about that. But you can just take the hubcap off if you want. You can also store that license plate inside the hubcap. Or if you don't want the hubcap on the figure, you can just plug in the license plate as so. Okay, so for accessories, other than the Spike and Exo Suit, which we'll take a closer look at in just a few minutes, and this figure also comes with his blaster, and this is kind of a bluish metallic type paint that they've used on it with some black mixed in. So it looks pretty good, some nice detailing on it. And the blaster will fit in either hand. It just slides right in. The hands on this particular Masterpiece are not, or the fingers are not articulated, so you can just slide it into either hand and it fits in nice and tight. Then this regular version comes with an alternate faceplate. One of the faceplates is kind of has a grimace look to it, and then the other one is more of a maybe of a smirk, I would say. And basically all you do is you just kind of take your fingernail and kind of pull it off the faceplate, and it for the most part pops off pretty easy. And you can see now you have a blank no face Bumblebee. But then you just take the new faceplate and stick it in there, and just pops right in and fits snugly in the head. Now there's not a lot of difference between these two face expressions to me to really make this a valuable accessory in my opinion. Now there is an exclusive version with a coin that I also think comes with a faceplate that is reminiscent of the G1 toy that had the faceplate over the mouth and everything, and that one's pretty cool. If you were a fan of the G1 toy, then that's definitely a cool feature to have. But with the regular version and these two different, the smirk and the non-smirk or grimace, whatever you want to call it, it's not that, to me, not that major of a thing. Okay, so Masterpiece Bumblebee in robot mode stands just a little bit under 5 inches tall. Okay, and just for some size comparisons, here he is next to the modern Masterpiece Optimus Prime. And you can see they're in pretty good scale with one another. And then just for another one, here he is next to the recently released Masterpiece Wheeljack and Prime. So you can see the scale overall is pretty good with this line. So here's just a few more comparisons. Here's a comparison of the little Spike figure that came with the Masterpiece Optimus Prime. And then just as another size comparison, here he is next to the Frenzy/Rumble cassette. Now the scale here might be a little bit off. I want to say these two were pretty close in size with one another. Maybe Rumble and Frenzy were a little bit shorter than Bumblebee in the cartoon. I can't remember for sure, but I think for the most part they were pretty close in height. Though then again, I want to say that Frenzy and Rumble were just a little bit taller than Spike, so maybe Bumblebee was taller in the cartoon. And then finally, here is a comparison with the Alternator Cliff Jumper, and you can see that one's a little bit bigger, but most of the alternators are bigger in size than the Masterpieces. Articulation on this figure is pretty good. He can turn his head left and right with no problem. He's also got some pretty good forward and back motion with the head. The arms are attached with ball hinge joints, so he can get his arms all the way out. Plus he's got good rotation. Plus that joint kind of moves up and down, so you can kind of have his shoulders slouching if you wanted to. He has a single hinged elbow, but he's got good bending at the elbow, and he's got rotation there at the elbow as well. The wrists, there's no swivel on the wrist and there's no finger articulation. However, he can kind of do his wrists forward basically because of the transformation, but for the most part there's not a whole lot of movement with the hands on this one. He can swivel at the waist, and he can basically bend over at the waist, and he can bend back at the waist to look up. Legs are on those hinge joints, so he can do the splits really good. He can get his leg forward good, and he can get his leg back good. Plus he's got a rotation there at the thigh. Single hinged knee, but he can bend his knee pretty good. And then the way the lower leg works is you can kind of pull it out even further, so you can get even more bending there. And then the feet have a little bit of up and down movement and a little bit of left to right movement, but there's no swivel at the feet. Okay, so real quick, we're just going to take a look at the Spike and Exo Suit. As a figure in its own right, I'd say this figure is so-so. As a pack-in for the Bumblebee, you know, it's pretty cool, definitely. The figure stands at just a little bit under 4 inches tall. So here he is next to like the MP cassette Frenzy, and you can see Spike is a little bit taller than Frenzy. And then here he is next to Masterpiece Bumblebee, and you can see Bumblebee is definitely taller. And just for one more comparison, here he is next to Spike as seen in the G1 cartoon from the little figure that came with the Masterpiece Prime. Detail on this figure is so-so. You know, it's basically done in the white plastic with a kind of grayish blue color for like the legs and arms and such. The helmet is removable, but the head sculpt is not very detailed at all. He does have brown hair, but like the eyes aren't painted in at all. Very similar to the head sculpt we saw with that MP Spike, or the Spike that came with the MP Prime. He's got the little yellow dots painted on his chest. He's got the little laser cannons on his arms. The hands on this are basically no articulation, can't hold anything. They're just kind of sculpted inside the suit there. He's got the little jets at the end of the arms like we saw in the cartoon. So, you know, articulation. Most annoying thing about this figure is that the joints are on these ball joints that easily pop off, so when you're moving it around, especially when you're trying to transform it, you're going to probably find that these parts just kind of pop off. You know, they'll pop right back on, but it gets kind of annoying when you're trying to transform it and such, and the pieces start popping off. The other thing to note is like the arms, you can't get straight down to his sides. So, you know, this kind of V pose with his arms is about as close to the sides as you can get. So you can't get a lot of good poses with the arms on this figure. Can't really get his arms straight out either. You can kind of hold it out and forward, which looks kind of funky. But again, the articulation on this is somewhat limited. Okay, so transforming this figure is pretty simple for the most part. You start off, you take the helmet off, and you push the head back. That's the only articulation this head has. You can't rotate it left or right, but you can push the head all the way back for its transformation. Then you want to put the helmet back on the figure, but you want to turn it so the little extra plastic pieces are basically off to the side, or in front of the figure, as opposed to the sides. You then want to kind of move the arms up over his head, and this is probably where you'll have a tendency to pop out those ball joints. push his feet, so push them back so they go all the way back into the legs. And then you can kind of just push the legs together and they'll kind of click together. And then kind of push them up so that the white pieces are basically connected with one another. And they should just, if you get it right, they should just click into place. Then you want to lift the chest piece down on the figure, and then again move the arms, kind of rotate the arms up and around, and again you'll probably end up popping off. It's almost easier just to pop off the arms while you're transforming it. You also want to move the back wheels kind of down, like that. Close these pieces on the side so that they're filling the holes there up near where the shoulders were. And then at this point you can pop the arms back in. And just one quick note, before you pop the arms back on or before you rotate them off onto the sides, you want to make sure you pull these little wheels on the front out. And then once you've done that, you can just kind of click or pop it back into the ball joint, and hopefully it'll click in fairly easy. And then you just kind of push it. If everything works right, you should be able to just kind of click it into place. And then that's it. And it rolls, you know, pretty good. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I like the figure. I think the detail's nice. The scale works pretty well. Looks very true to what we saw in the Generation 1 cartoon. So, you know, if you've been collecting the masterpieces, then I definitely think you want to add this one to your collection. It is hitting specialty shops now, so places like online e-tailers like Big Bad Toy Store, TF Source have this in stock now. So if you want to add it to your collection, start checking your favorite online e-tailer. And that's my review. Until next time, please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.